May I come in, sir?
Please come. Vishal Jangid.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Please sit down, Vishal.
Yes, sir.
Vishal, tell us briefly about yourself, your academic qualifications, your work experience, and your main hobbies.
Yes, sir. So my name is Vishal Jangid. I have done my schooling from Jaipur. I was born in Jaipur as well. I did my schooling from Rukmani Birdla Modern High School, Jaipur. So after my schooling from Jaipur, I did my BA Honours in Economics from Shriram College of Commerce. During my college days, I was involved with one NPO, Make a Difference, as a volunteer. In my extracurricular activities, I participated in one internship with the Parliament, and I've done 2 technical papers for actuarial sciences. So I graduated in 2018. So after that, I have been preparing for civil services. This is my 3rd attempt and 2nd interview. And so my hobbies include watching TV shows, and I like to write journal.
So Vishal, what is that you like most about Jaipur?
Yes, sir. It's the culture of Jaipur, and for me personally, it's the food of Jaipur.
Oh,
Food of Jaipur.
food.
Yes, sir.
Food of Jaipur. So why so many foreigners come to Jaipur? Do they come for food or culture, or what for?
So both things. Jaipur is a World Heritage City, sir. It's the only, I think, the 2nd city in India, and that is why foreigners come to Jaipur. And so food is also an aspect of it. And so we have 3 World Heritage sites: Amer Fort, City Palace, and I'm unable to recall the
Okay,
last one.
doesn't matter. So you mentioned culture. Culture is a very broad term.
Yes.
What kind of culture? Like every state will say our culture is good. So what is the special feature about Rajasthan's culture? Tell me 1 or 2 if you can.
So it's often said that Rajasthan has something for everyone. And if we talk about culture, it includes the rich music, painting, history, and food, as I've already mentioned. And so, would you like me to go into detail of it?
No, not required.
Okay.
Okay, tell me, you are an economics student,
Yes, sir.
right? Now, what is the latest about the inflation in India?
So the recent MPC was held, and they have increased their target to 5.7%. The projected inflation to 5.7%.
But tell me, there is a situation that if we assume that the Ukraine-Russia war will continue, if we assume that the oil prices will also continue to increase or do not decrease, and we also presume that the inputs supply chain would be affected.
Yes, sir.
So how you, as say governor of RBI, would like to review RBI monetary policy in the light of these things which may be presumed for future?
Yes, sir. So, sir, as the governor of RBI, my main challenge would be to ensure that this transitional inflation does not become structural inflation. And therefore, as the current MPC has done, I would have also gone for absorbing liquidity in the long term period. And they have used the new method of standing deposit facility, and I would go on with sucking out the excess liquidity in the market and ensure that inflation does not become structural.
So you would suck the liquidity, but would you also tweak the repo rate?
So in the near future, it could be done.
How much repo rate you would like to increase? What is the present repo rate?
So the present repo rate is 4%.
So if you don't increase the repo rate, there will not be any savings. Nobody would like to deposit money. So how would liquidity be sucked, as you said?
It's mainly by offering higher reverse repo rate, or as the RBI has done, the standing deposit facility.
So where would the bank get money from to deposit with RBI and such liquidity?
So RBI already has enough surplus with it, and they can also print money I mean,
No, printing
sorry.
of money will be just the opposite side.
Yes, sir. I've said it wrong. They do not need to print money. They will get the money. But if you want to suck liquidity, you issue securities. And as you issue securities, with the interest rate that you are offering, the banks would deposit money with you. And
But is there any security which RBI has announced security issued by RBI?
so in this time period, it is going to be done without any collateral.
Okay. All right. You mentioned that you have done some internship program in the Lok Sabha.
Yes, sir.
What is it that you did in Lok Sabha?
Yes, sir. So it was an internship program by Bureau of Parliamentary Studies and Training. It was a 1-month internship program, and we had three separate attachments. 1 week attachment with the question hour branch, and 1 week attachment with the Committee on Agriculture, wherein my task was to give inputs on the doubling of farmers' income.
So why is Lok Sabha's speaker called as a speaker and Rajya Sabha's speaker called as chairman?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it.
So, what do you mean by uniform civil code, and in your opinion, should it be implemented?
The uniform civil code, in my opinion, means that one nation, one law, and therefore all the religions should have a similar law in the case of personal laws. In my personal opinion about uniform civil code, sir, I think now is the time that we can go for it. We have seen that the Supreme Court has already provided adoption rights to the Muslims, and the government's triple talaq law, it was also appreciated. So I think, sir, this is the time we can go for uniform civil code.
Okay. So, coming back to your subject, economics,
Yes.
We saw economic recession recently in 2020,
Yes, sir.
and prior to that, we saw that in 2008.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, can you tell me the difference between both the recessions and type of recoveries in both these periods?
Yes, sir. So, starting with the recent recession, so it was a recession led by coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown of the industries and the whole country, and because of that, industrial output decreased, and therefore we had recession, which is 2 quarters of a year with negative growth rate. The 2008 recession, it was mainly because of the global financial crisis, which was there because of the subprime lending in USA. So the recovery has been stronger in case of the coronavirus-led recession. However, we saw that the impact of global financial crisis was on a higher side, as seen in the rise of the NPAs in India.
Okay. So, can you tell about the impact of Ukraine-Russia war on BRICS?
Sir, I think Russia has appreciated India's stand, and that is there. But we are also seeing that Russia and China are getting closer. So that needs to be seen, sir. Otherwise, I think Ukraine-Russia war will not have a major impact on the progress of the BRICS.
Okay. How important is it for India to have good neighbors? We are seeing instability in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal is not also doing good.
Yes, sir.
So how important is it to have good neighbors?
So I think India cannot be an island of development, and therefore good, strong neighbors, stable neighbors are beneficial to India. And we are seeing that India is also making efforts to ensure it. We are engaging with the Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal and Sri Lanka to ensure that we have good neighbors, because after all it's Indian subcontinent and we would like everybody to grow.
Okay, and my last question before I pass on is, why you are so keen to join civil services?
Yes, sir. So I think there are mainly 2 factors. One is the idea of serving the civilians, and second, I think, sir, it's a very good job with a personal growth, wherein we can provide service delivery at the ground level and rise up to make policies. And so this opinion is mainly from the perspective of an Indian administrative services. So a combination of these two factors led me to go for civil services.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Vishal, again from your Lok Sabha internship,
Yes, sir.
have you heard of a scheme called MP Lads?
Yes, sir.
So, what two things you tell me where it has a distinct advantage over normal our developmental schemes, or whether it is central sponsored scheme or central sector scheme, two distinct advantages of MP Lads.
Yes, sir. Sir, every MP is provided 5 crore rupees per annum, which he or she can use for development activities in his or her constituency. So that is first, that MP as per his or her choice can go for the development project. The second, as far as I can recall, is that MP Lad specifically focuses on vulnerable sections as well. A certain part of it has to be spent on vulnerable sections. So that is there as well.
Okay. Do you think that the tourism potential of Rajasthan has been fully realized or tapped? If not, then what further action or steps will you take so that we can utilize this potential fully?
Yes, sir. So I do not think that Rajasthan's full potential has been realized.
Ji.
There is always something more that can be done. Economic survey suggests that Rajasthan is not among the top 5 states in the domestic tourism category, and therefore I think more could be done.
Okay. So,
So
what action would you suggest?
Yes, sir. So in my opinion, first is the handicraft of Rajasthan. This needs to be collaborated with the tourism sector. The more GI tags get marketed, I think that could be one thing. The second is the connectivity in Rajasthan has been low.
Yeah, connectivity, yes.
As compared to the national average, Rajasthan's road density is of around 78 kilometers, and that could be done. The third, there are new niche sectors of tourism coming up, like sustainable tourism or tribal tourism. So under the Swadesh Darshan scheme, there is a tribal circuit in Rajasthan, in the South Rajasthan, which comprises, I think, Dungarpur. That could also be tapped.
Okay,
And
good. Thank you. Now, do you see economic recovery after COVID? The first and second wave of COVID, do you see the Indian economy is recovering?
so, pardon, after the second wave,
Yeah, I mean, after the COVID, I mean, for the last 2.5 years, our economy was badly disrupted. So, do you see any recovery?
yes, sir. Economy has definitely bounced back, as
Okay.
reflected by the strong exports numbers that we have. We have crossed more than $417 billion this year.
So, what has been the government of India's role in this as a facilitator
So specifically for the exports or the
for general improvement in the economy? What actions, what schemes, what programs government of India has initiated in the last couple of months so that the impact of COVID was minimized, or we could make a quick recovery?
yes, sir. So the government has provided liquidity support to the businesses. The second has been a very good scheme of production linked incentives.
PLI, okay.
That is there, sir. Apart from that, so the government is now providing negotiations with free trade agreements for the future. And so the limit, the insolvency and bankruptcy code limit, that has been restricted for now, so that companies do not go for bankruptcies.
Okay.
So these things have helped.
So the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has recently come out with a report on poverty, which is
Yes.
encouraging for us, for India. What is that? Are you aware? Have you read
Yes,
about
sir.
it?
So that paper has been written by Shri Surjit Bhallaji and two other economists. So that report suggests that India has done very well in the case of extreme poverty.
Yeah.
So if we take $1.9 per day as a extreme poverty line, then India just had 0.8% of extreme poverty. So it was a direct result of government's policy for the food grains.
Okay. My last question, Vishal. What is the SDG goal for energy sector? And name any one scheme which has been launched by Government of India to achieve, to reach near that goal.
So I'm not aware of the exact SDG goal targets. And
No problem. Any scheme, power sector reform, some important.
the government has launched FAME scheme, wherein 30% of our 30% of our vehicles should be electric vehicles.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, Vishal, thank you so much. I would like to understand from you demonetization.
Yes, sir.
You remember demonetization?
Yes, sir. My internship was during that period only.
Wonderful. I would like to understand that there are certain things that were expected during the course of demonetization. In what way, in a scale of 1:10, we have been able to achieve those objectives, and where we have failed and why?
Yes, sir. So starting with the objectives of demonetization, the government had firstly claimed it was to curb counterfeit currencies. The second, it was for reducing the terrorist activities, especially in left-wing extremism and Jammu Kashmir. So third, after these two objectives, the government came with that it will help in improving digital economy or the digital transactions. So I think that there has been a decrease in terrorist activities and LWE, and UPI has also picked up that digital transactions are happening and UPI has become a game changer. But as an economist, sir, I think that demonetization has impacted the manufacturing sector, the industry sector, and especially the micro and the small enterprises, the informal enterprises. So,
Yes, of course, Vishal, but I am given to understand that the amount of black money in circulation and that what was deposited in the Reserve Bank exceeded what was supposed to be in the grey area. How did that happen? That miracle happen?
yes, sir. So I think one reason is that most of the people do not save their black money just in cash. Most of the money is either saved in wealth or the properties, or it's flown out of the country. So that is also the case, sir. And supporting your numbers, sir, recently the data says that the cash with the public is now 60% more than the 2016 levels. So that is true, sir.
And another thing that bothers the nation is the Hawala transactions. You fully realize that Hawala is primarily only for illegitimate and anti-national purposes. Don't you think you could devise anything? And if you are the finance minister, don't you think you can devise ways and means of how to sound the death knell of Hawala transactions? Is it doable? It's not doable.
So I think technology can be a very good game changer. The more we switch towards the digital money, especially the central bank digital currency, I think it could be one of the ways to reduce the Hawala transactions, sir.
Is there Hawala in USA also?
So vis-a-vis India, I mean,
Yes, vis-a-vis India, vis-a-vis the illegitimate banking system, as we know Hawala is.
so I'm not sure of it, but I think it should be the case.
Well, that is debatable, of course. Then let us shift gears, come to education.
Yes, sir.
Day before yesterday, there was the announcement by the UGC of dual degree program in India.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of the dual degree program?
Yes, sir.
Are you fascinated? Are you excited about it, or you feel that it is a damn squib?
I'm sorry, pardon me,
Or
sir.
you feel that it is of no consequence? It is only old wine in new bottle and not of much consequence.
Sir, I think it is a good step that the government has taken. It will help us to diversify our skills. As a student of economics, I could also do a degree in computer science and be well equipped with the coding as well. And the guidelines are yet to come, but they are proposing that they'll go for 2 physical degrees or 1 physical and 1 offline, or 2 offlines or 2 onlines. So,
But the major criticism, Vishal, is that we have not been able to ensure examination system on online platforms. Do you agree? I think we have already conducted our examinations during the pandemic on the online platform, and I don't think that should be a problem. But very many academicians say that it has inbuilt structural failure because online examination is not possible in the graduate and postgraduate levels.
sir, I think that with time and with more dialogue, these things could be sorted out. Especially, sir, Harvard runs its online programs as well, and those online exams also have examinations.
That is Harvard. Talk of India.
So we
They
can
have-
aspire to be
you
Harvard.
have
sir.
SAT, you have GRU, everything that is online. But talk of India, are we any university, including Indira Gandhi Open University, are we able to do everything on online platform?
So, but we can definitely look up to it, right? We can definitely go and improve on the aspects of it. And I think I'm very optimistic sir, that we can be
That
Harvard.
we can do it. I would say the same, but till the time we don't do it, it's only optimism and perhaps over optimism. Now, you also mentioned terrorism, you also mentioned left-wing extremism.
Yes, sir.
Do you think left-wing extremism, at one point of time, maybe around 2000, it was said that 40% of the nation is in the stranglehold of left-wing extremism. Today we are in 2022.
Yes, sir.
What do you think is the impact of left-wing extremism? Has it gone up? Is it status quo, or is it been under good control vis-a-vis 2010?
So I think it has definitely gone down. The strongholds of the left-wing extremism have been very less now. It's the sheer political will which has given us this strong LWE free zones, especially in the eastern India. And I think, sir, now it has become less of an ideology and more of an extortion group.
That's a very loaded statement that you have given, and I would have asked something else, but now I'll go into that. Left-wing extremism is also alleged to be patronized by certain political outfits.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree to it or disagree to it, and why?
Yes, sir. There have been certain political parties which believe that this is the right way to go for it. But I do not agree with the ideology, sir. We have a very vibrant democracy.
Okay, you have had your education in Delhi,
Yes, sir.
JNU, an iconic university of the country. My last question to you.
Yes, sir.
You are the police commissioner of Delhi, and you have certain problems in the university,
Yes, sir.
and there are slogans, anti-national slogans, vandalism and arson.
Yes.
Now, as a police commissioner, would you require somebody's permission to enter JNU, or you think you have the power to enter JNU under these circumstances without anybody's approval and concurrence?
Sir, I'm not aware of the exact legal course that as a commissioner of a police I can take in an institute that is also a government institute. But I do not think that anything that is against the ethos of the constitution should be allowed. So I will definitely go and have dialogue with the higher authorities and then see what are the measures that can be taken to it.
Thank you, Vishal.
Well, you have been an intern,
Yes,
and
sir.
you mentioned about the 5 crore grant for the constituency for development work, each MP. Am I
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, these heavy allowances and all the benefits and 500 plus MPs in India, you were an economist also. Is it pocket friendly for a country like us, giving so much to them? I don't know, I'm not sure about the oversight, about the spending and all. And you have been inside as an intern. And from the economic point of view, you were telling us about the effects of the demonetization, etc. Means that you have done research. So what is your take on this? There's so much of money being given to the MPs, their allowances, while on the other hand, many abstain, they don't come except for the day of voting and all. What do you think? Is it justified?
So in a representative democracy, they are the representative of the public.
I know.
Sir, in some way, sir, I do not fully agree with the VIP culture, but some of these privileges are also required, sir. For example, MPs, they represent whole of the country and they have to come to Delhi, and therefore facilities of accommodation and these they need to be provided as well, sir. But coming to the economics of it, sir, it has a huge burden on the state's exchequer, especially because these are committed expenditures. We cannot just wish them away. So yeah.
Your view is it should continue.
So it could be rationalized or reduced in number.
It could be rationalized.
Yes, sir.
So therefore 100% you don't agree. I just wanted to know a young man's mind this thing. Do you know about Niti Aayog? You are an economist.
Yes, sir.
And did you know about Planning Commission before?
Yes, sir.
So what is the difference between the functioning of the two? The structure or functioning, very briefly.
So Niti Aayog would provide us what we call the 5-year plans, which is central planning kind of central planning, whereas Niti Aayog provides us with strategic plans or the indicative planning. So structurally, they both have been introduced from the executive resolution point, and so I think Niti Aayog has better representation of the states as compared to the planning commission. So this is what I can recall right now.
Yeah, I wanted to know your view. Tell me, what is the trend now? Like you had the privilege of getting the education in best institution as far as economics and commerce, that is SRCC.
Yes, sir.
Are the young lot going a lot for economics to pursue it? Do the betterment of either on teaching or in Indian economic service or anything? Is economics a very popular subject? That's my question.
So in recent years, it has been one of the popular subjects.
Is it job oriented? Means anybody who is doing an MA economics is likely to get a job as a lecturer, or gives enough this thing to compete in the civil service examination like you are appearing? Is it good?
Yes, sir.
Prospects wise, it is good.
Yes, sir. So even the private sector recognizes the value of masters in economics. The data centric activities also very much appreciate masters in economics.
We noticed that there have been in economics, there is at least offhand I can say there is 2 persons of Indian origin who got Nobel Prize, Amartya Sen and Banerjee 2 years ago. I don't recall any other name. So are they any inspiration to the younger lot to pursue economics? But both are settled abroad. Do you think if they had remained in India, India could have had better directions from 2 established economists? What is your view?
So if we look at their undergraduation, I think both of them have done it from the Indian universities.
Yes.
So that is there. But sir, research I think is the main factor behind incentivizing students to go for economics. And the better research that they have done in MIT and the US universities, that has helped. And they maintain very strong connect with India as well. Shri Abhijit Banerjee, he frequently visits India, and that has also helped in having a good enthusiasm about economics.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you very much.
So Vishal, we'll ask you the last question, and that would be from some topic of your choice that you will tell.
Sir, you have not asked me from my hobbies, sir.
From my hobby, okay. So tell me which hobby you would like question to be asked.
So journal writing is a personal hobby. I would like
Journal writing, okay. So you write a journal of your own, or you write in a journal?
So I have shifted to digital, sir.
Digital. So you write blogs, or you have your own journal?
I write
journal.
it, yes, sir. I write it in OneNote, but I do not share it with anyone.
Okay. So what is the subject of about what you write?
Sir, journal as different from diary. I write about things that interest me. It could be a reflective thing, or it could be some new concept that I liked, or a new recipe that I liked.
So it is not in public domain?
No, sir.
Okay. So you have called it journal. Journal for yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the, how does it help you writing the journal? Like what exactly is the motive behind writing such journals?
So I started, sir, in my 12th class. My English had been pretty weak. So that was my initial motivation for writing journal. But over the years, I have used it as a very good organizing tool. I think I organize my thoughts in a better way. And I plan what would I like to do, what have I achieved, and what more could have been done. So in that way, sometimes I go back and read my journal as well and see what have I done.
Good.
And that is one thing that I do.
So thank you, Vishal.